Today, I'm going to share with you 5 major shifts happening right now, plus what you need to do about each one if you want a top score, a top law school, and serious scholarship money. First, LSAT scores are inflating fast. A 170 doesn't mean what it used to. Top law schools are reporting record high scores. All of the T14 have medians of 170 or above. Even mid-tier and regional schools are raising their medians as well. Why is this happening? 3 major reasons. First, more people are prepping seriously. Second, extra time accommodations are becoming a lot more common. And third, logic games are off the test, making the exam easier to study for. It's not about what's fair, what's not fair. This is just the reality. And here's what you're going to want to do if you want to get into a top law school or get serious scholarship money. First, aim higher than last year's medians. By the time you apply, those numbers might be outdated. Second, target a score of 170 or above if you want to stay competitive, especially for scholarships. And third, stop comparing yourself to old score charts. Compare yourself to the current pool of serious applicants. The second big change, the LSAT is now online, but that doesn't necessarily make it easier. Yes, you can now take the LSAT at home or in person at a Prometric testing center. Both of them have their pros and cons. If you're taking it at home, you have the risk of tech issues. You might get interrupted by a proctor who's halfway around the world with a shaky internet connection themselves, and of course, you might yourself have your own internet connectivity issues. On the flip side, if you take it in person, you have fewer tech issues, a more controlled environment, and your roommate's not going to walk in with a blender midway through the test. And here's a pro tip for you. If you take the test at home, always ask the proctor to pause the clock before interrupting you if they have to for any reason. They won't offer to do that. That is on you to ask them ahead of time. Here's what you want to do to address these issues. First, practice the way you'll take it. If you're taking it at home on your own device, practice at home on your own device. But if at all possible, I do recommend taking it in person at a Prometric testing center just to minimize the likelihood of those issues with the proctors I mentioned earlier. Secondly, use LSAC's Law Hub system. It is the exact format you'll see on test day itself. And of course, if you're concerned about those tech issues, take it in person at the Prometric testing center. Third big shift, LSAC themselves is shifting their strategy, and you've got to stay current. They recently shut down the LSAT India exam. That version of the test, you may not have heard about it. It was customized for Indian law school specifically. So you might be wondering, why does that matter to you? Because it shows that LSAC is now going all in on the North American market, and it's willing to make big changes fast. Remember, logic games are already gone. They could be making other changes in the next couple years, like for example, they've alluded to scoring the writing sample sometime in the near future, and they don't announce these changes 5-10 years in advance. So don't rely on outdated prep materials or prep companies stuck in the past. Don't use some old book that's still talking about logic games. Follow updates directly from LSAC and trusted sources like this YouTube channel, and use only real current LSAC questions that reflect the test you'll actually take yourself. Fourth big change, there are more LSAT test dates than ever, so use them strategically. LSAC used to only offer the exam 4 times a year. Now they're offering it 8 times a year, and that is a gift if you use it wisely. Retakes are more common than ever before, and law schools only count your highest score on record. But if you retake carelessly, you could get burnt out, you could lose your confidence, and of course, you could waste valuable prep time. So instead, have a clear strategy in mind before each time you retake. Don't just take it and hope for the best. And of course, simulate several full-length timed exams under real test day conditions, track your performance, adjust your game plan, and focus on your weak areas before each time you take the test. To help you do this, at LSAT Unplugged, we create personalized day-by-day study plans with clear next steps to keep you accountable every step of the way. Even if you're not in one of our programs, make sure you're following some kind of structured plan. Fifth and final, generic LSAT prep is not enough anymore. Mediocre prep might have worked before, but not anymore. The stakes are just too high. It is too competitive now, and there's too much information out there. You've got to have precision in your prep. What I've seen is the most successful students know exactly which question types trip them up. They track which sections drain their energy, and they drill with intention, not just volume. That's what we call targeted prep, and it is non-negotiable if you're applying to law school in 2025 and beyond. So stop doing random questions, hoping it'll somehow magically click. Diagnose what's actually holding you back, and then build a system to reinforce your strengths and eliminate your weak spots. All these changes, score inflation, online testing, more test dates, they're not small, they're massive, but the students who win are the ones who adapt early. If you want the best possible score, the best schools, and the best scholarships, don't wait, get serious, and take control of your LSAT prep.